Value proposition is a key concept in selling because value proposition is what drives a customer to buy. It also can be hard to establish because it involves some psychology, which we'll talk about in a little bit. But the value proposition answers the question, why will customers buy my product and what do they find valuable about my product? Again, this is another concept that sounds relatively simple, but gets into the realms of psychology and sociology and value and perception of value. But understanding value proposition, or at least having a pretty good idea of what's driving the value prop behind your product, is super important to you being able to efficiently present your product in a way that is attractive to your potential clients. So the value prop, one way to look at it is it's often the target of advertising. If you pay attention to how products advertise themselves, whether it be consumer products or large business products, often the value prop is wrapped up in their advertising message. Something like the North Face, for example. They might show a mountain climber scaling a really steep mountain. They view themselves as a hardcore, high-end product, physical and technical product. So they're not going to show you a mom pushing her baby around a grocery store, even though that's what lots of people wear their North Face jackets to do. The opposite of that, from a business perspective, might be something like Accenture. Accenture is all about business analysis and reliability and things that weren't really commensurate with Tiger Woods' recent behavior, for example. So watch advertising, and you'll see inside of advertising what companies think that their value prop is. Establishing your own value prop is important as a part of your sales collateral creation and upkeep. Sales collateral we talked about in a different video, but it's a constant process of building materials to support your sales team and your sales staff. That stuff has to encapsulate value prop. If you put all this information into your website or into your sales materials and none of it talks about why people actually buy your product, it's not going to be that effective. So part of understanding value prop is figuring out why people buy your product. So let's look at a couple examples of different types of product. We'll look at a consumer product and then business products. This is very general, but you'll start to get the idea about centering in on why people think your product's attractive. So let's look at a consumer product. Consumer products tend to be part psychological and part practical. There are things like time savings that might figure in, if I buy a washing machine or a computer or some other consumer product, a lot of that might be, hey, this makes my life better and more efficient. There's also a large cool factor. I would argue the iPhone for a lot of people isn't very different than other smartphones that they have, but they might think it's cool or it's presented in a cool way or it makes them seem cool. That has a lot to do with branding and psychology. There's also a functionality factor. What does this thing actually do? And now I can get on the internet on my phone, so that's different than my last phone. That may drive a purchase. These start to get into the psychological pieces. The view of yourself, patriotic. If you're a good American or you're a smart person, you'll do this. And competitive. All my neighbors have one. You guys will, if you look critically at advertising, these are really simple themes behind a lot of advertising, especially view of self. Smart people or efficient people buy Volkswagens, and oh yeah, I'm a smart guy, so I'm going to buy a Volkswagen as well. All they're trying to do is center in on a value prop that works with consumers. So psychological and practical, they can change over time. This is sort of a difficult beast to nail down, but you do that by asking your potential consumers a lot of questions, by listening for non-obvious clues when they're talking, because sometimes people aren't able or are unwilling to acknowledge that these are the things that are driving their purchases. And then also watching physical behavior. Does this person show this thing off? Do they wear it around prominently? Do they put a sticker on their car? That'll tell you a lot about the way they view themselves and the way they view that product in relation to themselves. So this tends to be a softer proposition, which is why branding and consumer advertising is such a difficult beast in relation to business products. So business products, on the other hand, have a little bit more to do, and this is a generalization, with dollars, efficiency, and appearance and reputation. Is this thing efficient for my business? Does it save me money? Beyond saving me money, does it make me more money? Am I going to close more sales or increase my revenue? Is there a return on investment here? Also, I have a reputation to uphold that my company always does the best things or always buys the best things. There's an appearance factor. How many of you have gone into offices where they have big ornate entryways where it's supposed to make you feel like, oh, this law firm or this consulting company is legitimate, and they obviously must be very smart and successful. That's for a reason. And then also there's a whole bunch of other things that will drive business purchases that are unique to the companies. So, but it's the same process to figure it out. You're asking a lot of questions, you're listening for non-obvious clues, and you're watching for physical behavior, because again, businesses aren't always going to flat out say what's driving a purchase. Often in these areas, they'll explain very clearly what they need. We want to save more money, we want to lower production costs, we want to do whatever, and that can be transferred back into your sales materials. But arriving at a value proposition that's core to your product is really important. Put some time into this, have conversations with your clients, focus groups for consumer products, talk to a lot of people about what drives the purchase of those things, and then make sure that your sales collateral supports that process, that your value proposition is being enunciated inside of your sales collateral.